In our last video, we talked about how the psychology of money proved that behavior, not knowledge, is what separates the wealthy from everyone else. Today, we go deeper. Because knowing that behavior matters is one thing. Actually changing it, rewiring it at the root, is something else entirely. Atomic Habits by James Clear has sold over 15 million copies. It's been on bestseller lists for years. Almost everyone has heard of it. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people who read it are still stuck. Same habits, same results, same life. Why? Because they read the surface. They missed what the book is actually about. Today, I'm going to show you what James Clear never says out loud. The deeper engineering hidden inside this book that most people completely walk past. Stay with me, because insight number 3 is the one that will permanently change how you see yourself.
Here is the first thing James Clear never says directly, but proves on every single page. Goals are almost useless. And quietly, this entire book is an argument against them. Think about this. Every person who ran the same race had the same goal, to win. Only one person won. So the goal didn't separate them. The system of daily training did. Every person who starts January with a gym membership has the same goal, to get fit. Most quit by February. So again, the goal wasn't the problem. The absence of a system was. Clear says it plainly. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. But here's the deeper cut that most people miss. Goals actually create a hidden psychological trap. When you set a goal, your brain treats it as a future state, something that doesn't exist yet, which means right now, in this moment, you feel like you're behind. You feel like you're lacking. And that feeling of lacking creates resistance, not motivation. Systems do the opposite. A system says, today I show up. Today I do the work. Today is already a win.
The goal is the destination. The system is the vehicle. And Clear's real message is, fall in love with the vehicle. Forget the destination. Take one goal you currently have. Strip it down to its daily behavior. Don't say, I want to save $500. Say, I set aside a fixed amount every single Monday. No exceptions. The goal disappears. The system remains. And the system is what actually builds the result. Let me ask you something real quick. How many goals have you set in the last 12 months? And how many did you actually complete? Drop the number in the comments. Goals set versus goals completed. I want to see the honest answer. No judgment here, just data. This is the insight that will save you from quitting. James Clear describes something he calls the plateau of latent potential. And once you understand it, you will never look at slow progress the same way again. Imagine you're trying to melt an ice cube. The room is at minus 10 degrees. You start heating it. -9, -8, -7. Nothing happens. The ice just sits there, completely unchanged. -4, -2, -1. Still nothing. Then, 0 degrees. And suddenly, the ice begins to melt. Did all that previous heating do nothing? No. Every degree of heat was building toward the inevitable moment of change. The work was happening. The results just weren't visible yet. This is exactly what happens when you build habits, grow a business, learn a skill, build wealth. You do the work for weeks, sometimes months, and nothing seems to change. So you assume it isn't working. You quit. You switch strategies. You start over. But you were at -2 degrees. You were 1 degree from the breakthrough. Clear calls this the valley of disappointment, the gap between the effort you're putting in and the results you can see. Most people live and die in this valley, never knowing they were closer than they thought. The people who win are not more talented.
They are simply the ones who refused to quit before the ice melted.
Whatever you feel like quitting right now, a business, a skill, a savings plan, ask yourself one question before you stop. Am I actually failing? Or am I just in the valley? Most of the time, the honest answer is, you're in the valley. Keep going. This is the one I promised you. The insight hiding in plain sight that almost no one talks about. James Clear is not teaching you how to build habits. He is teaching you how to change who you are. Most people try to change their behavior from the outside in. They say, I want to exercise more, so I'll force myself to go to the gym. And they white-knuckle it for 2 weeks until motivation runs out and they stop. Clear flips this completely. He says the most powerful change happens from the inside out, starting with identity. Here's the difference. 2 people are offered a cigarette. The first person says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. The second person says, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. Same action, completely different identity. The first person is fighting against their nature. The second person is acting in alignment with who they already believe they are. This is the engine underneath every habit James Clear teaches. The 4 laws: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. They're all just tools. But the real foundation is deciding who you are first. You don't read every day because you have a reading habit. You read every day because you are a reader. You don't save money because you have a savings habit. You save because you are someone who builds wealth. You don't work hard because discipline forces you. You work hard because that's just who you are. Every action you take is a vote for the person you believe yourself to be. Cast enough votes, and the identity becomes unshakable. The habits become inevitable. You stop fighting yourself. That's the real secret of atomic habits. It was never about the habits. It was always about the person. Pick one identity statement and say it to yourself right now. Not, I want to be wealthy. Say, I am someone who builds wealth. Not, I want to be disciplined. Say, I am a disciplined person. Then ask, what would this person do today? And do exactly that. One small action. One vote cast. I want you to do something right now while you're still watching. Write your identity statement in the comments. Who are you becoming? Start it with, I am someone who, and finish the sentence. Writing it makes it real. The comments section becomes your first public vote. Everyone knows the famous line from Atomic Habits. Get 1% better every day, and you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. Most people hear that and think, okay, I just need to keep improving, grind harder, optimize everything. That's not what Clear is saying, and that misreading is exactly why most people burn out. The 1% rule is not a call to constant improvement. It is a call to consistency over intensity. 1% better doesn't mean pushing harder every single day. It means showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when the progress is invisible, even when the result seems miles away. Think about it mathematically. If you get 1% better every day for a year, you are 37 times more powerful than you were on day 1. But if you get 1% worse every day, you decay to nearly 0. The same compounding that builds wealth in finance builds skill, discipline, and identity in life. The person who reads 10 pages every single day will eventually leave behind the person who reads 100 pages in a burst and then stops for a month. The person who saves a small amount every single week will eventually leave behind the person who saves a large amount once and then dips into it. Boring consistency beats dramatic effort. Every single time. That's the real 1% rule. Not perfection, not intensity,
just never stop. Pick one thing you want to build, a skill, a business, a financial habit, and make it so small you cannot fail. So small it almost feels embarrassing. Read one page, save $1, write one sentence, do one push-up. The size doesn't matter. The streak does. Start the streak today.
Remember the question I asked at the start? Goals set versus goals completed? Here's what James Clear would say about that gap. The gap isn't a motivation problem. It isn't a discipline problem. It's an identity problem. You set goals as a future version of yourself and then tried to achieve them as your current self. The two were never aligned. Change the identity first. The goals will stop feeling like pressure and start feeling like inevitability. That's what Atomic Habits is really about. Not routines, not morning rituals, not productivity hacks. It's about becoming someone different. Someone for whom the right actions are not hard, they are simply natural. If this hit differently than every other Atomic Habits video you've seen, that's the point. PageWealth doesn't do summaries. We go underneath the book and pull out what's really there. If you're new here, welcome. Subscribe, because every video on this channel is built to make you think at a level most people never reach. And if you watched our last video on the psychology of money, you already know how this works. The ideas connect. The picture gets bigger every week. Subscribe to PageWealth. Share this video with one person who needs to hear it today. I'll see you in the next one.